One of the smaller yet very welcome changes coming in the Age of War Chapter 2 is a small rework of the Voidforge and the Library of Esoteric Artifacts. In the current build of the game, at Age of War Chapter 1, these systems are the only way to acquire numerous recipes on both Siptar and the Exiled lands. You interact with them by trading fragments of power for these recipes, and the loot pool includes a bunch of things like the glasser, the kiln furnace, fast elevators, etc. Prior to the Age of War Chapter 2, this system has been entirely RNG based, which frankly isn't so great. To explain why, the Library of Esoteric Artifacts has 30 attainable recipes and the Voidforge has 24. However, according to the Conan Exiles wiki, the average number of attempts to learn everything from the Voidforge is 91, and the average for the library is a staggering 120. This system really doesn't feel so good, so you'll be happy to know that it's changing in the Age of War Chapter 2. In the new update, all of the RNG elements of the Voidforge and the Library of Esoteric Artifacts are completely gone. Instead, you'll get all recipes in a set order, and that order should be uniform for everyone. RNG has its place for sure, but when it comes to just trying to get some recipes, in my opinion this really isn't the place for it. Not only does this change make things a lot more consistent, but it also makes farming up your fragments of power a lot simpler and easier to calculate. So to test it out, I've been through and claimed everything in both the Voidforge and the library, and I'll be showing you the order that I receive these items in. It's intended that everybody has the same result, however I couldn't actually find a way to reset these feats and try again. Hitting the reset feats button on the knowledge page didn't work, nor the potions of natural learning or bestial memory. This should be the order that everyone gets their recipes in, but I can't confirm that for certain, unless others can confirm or deny with my findings in the comments. So firstly, the Library of Esoteric Artifacts. There are kind of 31 recipes, as I did for some reason get a duplicate Essence of Rot and a duplicate coloured candles. I'm not too sure why, I'm assuming it's intentional, and if it is, you do need 31 fragments of power to attain everything from this loot table, but this whole section was a little bit confusing to be honest. The order I received the recipes in is on screen now. Some of the more desirable stuff is placed pretty far ahead, namely some of the venom infused weapons and of course the kiln, which is a very good middle ground option for furnaces. Some of the more useful stuff is a bit later on, like the Serpent Men statues, which can be used to bolster your treasure hoard without having to go out and find treasure. I'll be honest, I've watched over the clip many times and I'm kind of unsure why I got those duplicate recipes, or why there are 2 duplicates and yet the total number is 31 and not 30. I could be missing something. To be honest, maths is not my strong suit at all, I kind of panic when I see numbers, but it might just be an oversight and we might be getting a duplicate or 2 here or there. Over on the Isle of Siptar, the Voidforge has had the same treatment and I did the exact same process. The display plinths inside the Voidforge don't reflect what you're going to get anymore, though admittedly I haven't spent much time in the Voidforge. I'm fairly sure they did before. Anyway, it's the exact same idea. You give in your fragments and you get your rewards in an order. The order is shown on screen now. There are 24 recipes in total with no duplicates, requiring of course 24 fragments of power to claim absolutely everything, which is a massive improvement over the previous average of 91. A lot of the Voidforge gear is well distributed throughout the loot table, so you won't have to just roll your fragments of prey anymore, which is very nice for consistency. However, if you do want to deck yourself and your thralls out in all 3 varieties of the Voidforge armour, you will have to donate all 24 fragments. This change is one of the smaller ones in the Age of War Chapter 2, and it has been a little bit lost amongst the new purge and the loot rework, which is understandable, they're very big features. This is instead a much smaller quality of life change, but a very welcome one indeed. I've always thought it was a bit odd that the library and the Voidforge are so heavily rooted in RNG, and it never really felt good to try and get something like the kiln furnace and just burn loads of fragments of power, praying you manage to roll the correct loot. On initial impressions, this system seems much better and is a great improvement over the previous implementation. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the order of loot I showed you was correct, but I was unable to test it more than once. If you have tested this and seen a different loot order, or if it is indeed the same for you, please do let me know in the comments so we can kind of crowdsource some information on this. Failing that, if there is indeed a way to reset the library of esoteric artifact feats, do feel free to point out my stupidity in the comments. Thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. This change is a pretty small quality of life adjustment, but what do you think of it? I think it'll be for the better, and will bring a lot more assurity to these previously RNG based systems. Again, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.